Is the inspection or the appraisal more important when buying a home? Let's find out from the president of the real estate inspection company, Philippe Heller.
And he's back. Philippe Heller is here. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good to have you here.
Always.
As always, making us smarter. And I rely on you for that. This is something that's come up quite a bit, which is, people who are buying these days seem to be a lot more concerned about the appraisal than they are their inspection. Will it appraise? Will it appraise? Is it going to appraise? Even the sellers are concerned about that more than anything else. We see that very rarely appraisals don't come in, very rarely. But I would say it happens frequently. We see requests for repairs and things that are derived from an inspection.
Correct.
So it seemed to me that the inspection is more important to pay attention to than the appraisal. But let's try to identify both. So the appraisal is there to mostly protect the bank, which in turn protects the buyer.
From overpaying, yes.
That's the idea behind it. But now that doesn't mean that the market can't go down and you can still be upside down.
Right, it's no guarantee.
So, no guarantees.
Sure.
The inspection, however, is different. It's just for the buyer.
That is true. And I think that the appraisal is very important because it's usually the first step. What does every agent say? Derek, you want to buy a house? We're going to get you pre-approved. And we need to know that you can afford. So we have to get the appraisal to see what kind of loan you need to get. And so that's a first step. It's on everybody's mind right up front. The inspection kind of comes in at the 10th hour, 11th hour, and so it's the final kind of fine-tuning of the value of the house.
Right. And that is technically ordered by the buyer.
Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time ordered by the buyer, but it's for the buyer.
Yes.
So this is specifically for you. The appraisal is for the bank, which trickles down to you, which is great. But that's more of a 35,000-foot view on the whole thing. They're not really drilling down into much. I mean, they will get in, they will measure the rooms to get square footage, but that's about as far as they drill down, is square footage. So with the inspection, depending upon who you have do the inspection, obviously. This one you brought in is hilarious. We'll get to it in a second. But that's there to protect the buyer solely.
Correct.
It's the buyer's discretion. A buyer can say, in other words, the bank's not looking at this. No one else is going to say anything except for the buyer to say, look at the findings of that and determine whether or not they should take a course of action.
Right, because there are some significant items that could cost the buyer some money. And it may be the difference between the house being comfortable and livable and not being comfortable and livable. If the roof is leaking, if the air conditioner doesn't work or the heat doesn't work, that's a big issue. Home inspections were never intended to find every scratch or dent and loose doorknob. It was for significant items. And so those are definitely things that the buyer needs to consider, because if they're ponying up all their money to buy the home, they may not have $5,000, $10,000 for repairs after they move in.
And the difference is, I think, is the inspection is more of the appraisal is more of a check and balance, whereas the inspection is more of an investment.
Yes.
You could look at it like it in insurance as well, but I look at it more of an investment, because multiple times, for me personally, where I had inspections done on properties and I did not buy them, and that probably saved me so much money. Who knows? Just a $400 or $500 inspection save probably tens of thousands of dollars.
Sometimes more.
Yeah, so I consider it to be more of an investment.
Well, there is a great return on a home inspection. And from our studies that we've done, a buyer usually realizes about 3 times to 4 times the cost of the inspection in seller concessions. Even if it's something as simple as identifying a bad water heater or a bad air conditioning condenser. Well, if you spent $500 on a home inspection, water heaters nowadays to get installed are $1,500 to $2,000 or more. So right there, by having that inspection report and being able to go to the seller, hey, this has failed. We would like either a concession of some sort or get it repaired. So you immediately see it's one of the best returns on your investment during the real estate transaction.
Absolutely, because as a seller, and it amazes me how many sellers don't get a pre-listing inspection, because then they could get ahead of all these things and they could have the leverage themselves, but most of them don't do it. So they're leaving it up to the buyer. The buyer goes in. That's the best tool that a buyer has to negotiate with, without question.
And the term you coined, which is really brilliant, made everybody smarter, is whoever gets the inspection has the upper hand in the negotiation, whether it's the seller or the buyer, and that's a very valid point.
Whoever gets the inspection first, because they have the information. The inspection provides valuable and crucial information to the sale of that property. So whoever has that has access to that information first has the advantage first.
Absolutely.
The seller can either go make those repairs on their own, save themselves negotiating power, or they can leave it up to the buyer to go do that, and the buyer could then back out.
Walk away.
Completely. Could just say, you know what, I don't feel like negotiating with you, I'm done. Now you have to go back on the market. All sorts of bad things happen when you have to go back on the market when you're listing. You lose all your negotiations. So the buyer has a very strong position. To get their money's worth is almost guaranteed, because the best thing that can happen in an inspection is that everything checks out and it's perfect. And that is worth the peace of mind all on its own.
By itself.
But most likely that's not going to happen. Most likely there's going to be a few things that get pointed out. Those items are going to now be the leverage that you have to negotiate, either to get some concessions, get some stuff fixed, or say,
it's not the right house for you.
Bye-bye. Now, of course, that depends on what kind of inspection you get.
Yes.
Can we hold that up real quick? So this is a real inspection.
This is the entire inspection. This is the whole thing.
One page.
Our reports come in on average between 30 and 60 pages with pictures, thermal image, video clips, lots of information, documenting everything, which is very important just so you as a homeowner have that documentation. If you ever have a home warranty claim, for example, you can prove the condition of something. But I want to caution agents that if their buyer, because they know somebody, a friend, a brother, somebody like that, who's a home inspector, and I'll put that in quotes, and this is what you get, I would highly recommend that the agent bring in their own inspector that they trust, because this is the kind of thing that ends up very often in a lawsuit, and the agents always get dragged in, and it's because not enough was disclosed about the condition of the property.
Can I see that real quick?
Absolutely.
So this is one page, and at the bottom it says, I will not hold this person responsible for any items not found during walkthrough inspection, and they want you to sign it right there. So, I mean, you look at this, washer, dryer, it just simply writes on here, not inspected. Well, there was one on here, where does it said? It said something like, oh, heating system, cooling system, have it checked. You should really have someone check this out.
Don't
That's
ask
basically
me.
what he's saying. Heating system, yeah, you should have that checked. What are you doing? So this is real life. This is real life. This is what can happen. This is not from the real estate inspection company.
No.
The real estate inspection company, you're going to get a very thorough inspection. You're going to get tons of information about the property that will either help you make a decision about whether this is the right house for you or not, or it will give you power in the negotiating process to get you that return on your investment, which you're almost guaranteed to get anytime you get an inspection. Philippe Heller, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Tremendous information as always, making us smarter. That's what we do here. We make you smarter than everyone else. It's all guaranteed. Stick around for more.